On Thursday, January 11th, the Trump administration allowed the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to release a set of guidelines regarding work requirements for Medicaid recipients. When comparing how this was reported by CNN, a network known to lean left, and Fox, a network known to lean right, there were noticeable differences. Right off the bat, the wording of the CNN headlines carried negative undertones, using phrases such as make and impose work, leading you to imply some form of force is taking place. However, the Fox News headline seemed extremely positive, using phrases such as opens doors. As you read further into each article, noticeable bias is continuously evident, and as you can see, this clear bias was not an isolated incident. So I ask this: how are we, the citizens of America and the audience for CNN, Fox News, and many other agencies, supposed to develop our own clear ideas and opinions on the matter when the agencies in charge of providing us with this information are skewing it to please their viewers? Welcome back to The Rewind. I'm Jenna Cohen, and our third episode is going to be on how all media in America is 100% honest and reports nothing but the truth. Just kidding. Episode 3 is going to be on the very real issue of media bias in America. Media bias is the bias or perceived bias of journalists and news producers within the mass media, both in the selection of events and stories that are reported and how they are covered. Now more than ever, the topic of media bias has been brought to the surface by the current presidential administration, specifically this concept of fake news. Now personally, I think this whole fake news thing is fake. My question is, what makes certain news fake? Because if you follow the trend based on our own president's words, these so-called fake news agencies are the agencies that criticize him, his administration, or the Republican Party as a whole. Granted, it is certainly fair to say that the news in general has become more polarized in order to please viewers, as well as stay up to date with the extremely polarized political climate we face today. My issue with media bias is how it impacts young, loyal readers and listeners to all of these news programs who want to retrieve this information and form their own opinion. In a study done by Media Post in 2016, here are the top 20 news sources for people 13 years to 33 years old. Now, this list shouldn't surprise you. Young voters tend to have more liberal views, explaining why CNN would take the top of the list. Along with typical news agencies such as Fox News, The New York Times, NPR, and NBC, there are a significant amount of sources on the list that people even 5 years ago would be shocked to see, including Facebook and Twitter, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. However, our society shouldn't be surprised if we see sources like this on the rise in the coming years. Young people have become politically active now more than ever, and we are enticed by condensed, accessible news. What's the problem, who's involved, and how will it impact me? Because of the increase in political activism in the country, it is crucial that the frequency of media bias declines. How is anyone supposed to develop their own opinions and beliefs if the information that is being presented to you is skewed? This summer, I had the opportunity to participate in a life-changing week as a national youth correspondent at the Washington Journalism and Media Conference. Throughout the week, I met a handful of expert journalists, and the main theme of all their discussions was media bias. Why has it surfaced now more than ever, and what can we do about it? Ultimately, the conclusion that we discovered was the dire need for straightforward, factual journalism. When meeting with Sarah Westwood, the White House correspondent for the Washington Examiner, she stated that a journalist knows their job has been done right when they're being criticized by both sides of the aisle, because ultimately, no party is able to please every single person, no matter the decision they're making. So, as a young person active in politics, I hope to see a decrease in bias and frequent consistency among all news agencies. However, this change will come with time. So until then, I advise all of you to actively seek out accurate information. Find second, third, and fourth sources, compare news stories to one another, and use all the resources at your disposal to develop your own opinions and ideas. And then act. That's all for episode 3. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel, as well as follow the Rewind page on Twitter and Facebook. And that, my friends, is The Rewind.